Daniel chapter 5 verse 1. Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords, and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, whilst he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink therein. Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of Allahayanawa, which was in Jerusalem. And the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then the king's countenance was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. And the king spake and said to the wise men of Babylon, Whosoever shall read this writing, and show me the interpretation thereof, shall be clothed with scarlet, and have a chain of gold about his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then came in all the king's wise men, but they could not read the writing, nor make known to the king the interpretation thereof. Then was King Belshazzar greatly troubled, and his countenance was changed in him, and his lords were astonished. Now the queen reasoned by reason of the words of the king and his lords, came into the banquet house. And the queen spake and said, O king, live forever. Let not thy thoughts trouble thee, nor let thy countenance be changed. There is a man in thy kingdom, in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And in the days of thy father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, was found in him, whom the king Nebuchadnezzar thy father, the king, I say, thy father, made master of the magicians, astrologers, Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. For as much as an excellent spirit and knowledge and understanding, interpreting of dreams, and showing of hard sentences, the solving of doubts, were found in the same Daniel, whom the king named Belteshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation. Then was Daniel brought in before the king. And the king spake and said unto Daniel, Art thou that Daniel, which are the children of the captivity of Judah, whom the king, my father, brought out of Jewry? I have heard of thee, that the spirit of the gods is in thee, and that light and understanding and excellent wisdom is found in thee. And now the wise men, the astrologers, have been brought in before me, and they should read this writing, and make known unto me the interpretation thereof, but they cannot show the interpretation of the thing. And I have heard of thee, that thou canst make interpretations and dissolve doubts. Now if thou canst read the writing, and make known to me the interpretation thereof, thou shalt be clothed with scarlet, and have a chain of gold about thy neck, and shall be third ruler in the kingdom. And Daniel answered and said before the king, Let thy gifts be to thyself, and give thy reward to another. Yet I will read the writing unto the king, and make known to him the interpretation. O thou king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar thy father a kingdom, and majesty, and glory, and honor. And for the majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. Whom he would he slew, and whom he would he kept alive, and whom he would he set up, and whom he would he put down. But when his heart was lifted up, and his mind hardened in pride, he was disposed from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. And he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beasts, and his dwelling with the wild asses. They fed him with the grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, like he knew the Most High God ruled the kingdom of men, and that he appointed over it whomsoever he will. And thou, his son, O Belshazzar, hast not humbled thine heart, though thou knewest all this, but hast lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven. And they have brought the vessels of his house before thee, and thou and thy Lord, thy wives, and thy concubines have drunk wine in them. And thou hast praised the gods of silver, and God of brass, iron, wood, and stone, which seeth not, nor hear, nor know. And the power in whose hand thy breath is, and whose are all thy ways, hast thou not glorified. Then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this writing was written. And this is the writing that was written, Mene, Mene, Tekel, Upharsin. This is the interpretation of the thing, Mene. Allah now hath numbered thy kingdom, and finished it. Tekel. Thou art weighed in the balance, and art found wanting. Perez. Thy kingdom is divided, and given to the Persians and the Medes. Then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet, and put a chain of gold about his neck, and made proclamation concerning him, that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. Isaiah chapter 42, verse 1. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall not break, and the smoking flax he shall not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. He shall not fail, nor be discouraged, till he have set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. Zechariah chapter 12, verse 7. Yahweh also shall save the tents of Yahweh first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Yahweh. In that day shall Yahweh defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them in that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as the Elohim, as the angel of Yahweh before them. Lamentations chapter 5, verse 1. Remember, O Yahweh, what is come upon us. Consider, and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor, and we have no rest. We have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. Exodus chapter 42, verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they turn and encamp before Pihareoth, between Migdol and the sea, over against Baal-zephon. Before it ye encamp by the sea. For Pharaoh will say to the children of Israel, They are entangled in the land, the wilderness hath shut them in. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, that he shall follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his host, that the Egyptians may know that I am Yahweh. And they did so. And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants were turned against the people. And they said, Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us?" And he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt and captains over every one of them. And Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with an high hand, but the Egyptians pursued after them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them encamping by the sea, beside Pihahiroth, before Baal-Zephon. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried out unto Yahweh. And they said unto Moses, Because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us, to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. And Moses said before the people, Fear not, stand still, and see the salvation of Yahweh, which he will show you today. For Egyptians, whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. Yahweh shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel, that they go forward. But lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. And I will get me honor upon Pharaoh, and upon all his host, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all they looked for. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, This was he, whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Elohim, and his lot is among the saints? Therefore we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness had not shined unto us, and the sun of righteousness rose not up upon us. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yea, we have gone through deserts, where they lay no way. But as for the way of Yahweh, we have not known it. What hath pride profited us? Or what good hath riches with our vaunting brought us? All those things are passed away like a shadow, and as a post that hasteth by. Revelation chapter 6, verse 1. And I saw, when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the great noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 1. A prayer of Habakkuk, the prophet, upon Shigionoth. O Yahweh, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Yahweh, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years make known. In wrath remember mercy. Allahayanawa came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran, Selah. His glory covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. And his brightness was like the light. He had horns coming out of his hand, and there was the hiding of his power. Before him went the pestilence, and the burning coals went forth at his feet. He stood, and he measured the earth. He beheld, and drove asunder the nations, and the everlasting mountains were scattered. The perpetual hills did bow, his ways the everlasting. I saw the tents of Cushan in affliction, and the curtains of the land of Midian did tremble. Was Yahweh displeased against the rivers? Was thine anger against the rivers? Was thy wrath against the sea, that thou didst ride upon thine horses and thy chariots of salvation? Thy bow was made quite naked, according to the oaths of the tribes, even thy word, Selah. Thou didst cleave the earth with rivers. The mountains saw thee, and they trembled. The overflowing of the waters passed by. The deep uttered his voice, and lifted up the hands on high. The sun and the moon stood still in their habitation. At the light of thine arrows they went, and at the shining of thy glittering spear. Thou didst march through the land in indignation. Thou didst thresh the heathen in anger. Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people, even for the salvation with thine anointed. Thou woundest the head out of the house of the wicked by discovering the fountain unto the neck, Selah. Thou didst strike through with the staffs the head of his villages. They came out as a whirlwind to scatter me. Their rejoicing was as to devour the poor secretly. Thou didst walk through the sea with thine horses, through the heap of great waters. When I heard, my belly trembled, my lips quivered at the voice. Rottenness entered into my bones, and I trembled in myself, that I might rest in the day of trouble. When he cometh up unto the people, he will invade them with his troops. Although the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall fruit be in the vines, the labor of the olive shall fail, and the fields shall yield with no meat. The flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stalls. Yet I will rejoice in Yahweh. I will joy in the Allahayanawa of my salvation. Yahweh Allahayanawa is my strength. He will make my feet like hinds' feet, and he will make me to walk upon mine high places, to the chief singer on my string instruments. Sirach, chapter 13, verse 21, GNT. When a rich person stumbles, his friends will steadily help him. But if a poor person falls, his friends will have nothing to do with them. When someone rich makes a mistake, there are many people to cover up for him and explain all the things he never should have said. But let someone poor make a mistake, and he gets nothing but criticism. Even if what he says makes good sense, nobody will listen. When a rich person speaks, everyone is silent, and they praise him for the skies for what he says. But let a poor person speak, and everybody says, "Who is that?" They push him down if he so much as stumbles. There is nothing wrong with being rich if you haven't sinned to get that way. But there is nothing sinful about being poor either. Only the ungodly think so. It's what is in your heart that makes the expression on your face happy or sad. If you feel cheerful, you will look cheerful, although making up proverbs calls for some intense thought. Revelation chapter 14, verse 14. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, And upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in the sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of Allahayanawa. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horses' bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. Isaiah chapter 63, verse 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom, with dyed garments of Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength? I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon mine garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me. In my fury it upheld me. And I would tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in mine fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. Ezekiel chapter 17, verse 22. Thus saith Adonai Yahweh, I will also take of the highest branch of the high cedar, and I will set it. I will crop off from the top of his young twigs a tender one, and will plant it upon an high mountain and eminent. In the mountain of the height of Israel will I plant it, and it shall bring forth bowls, and bear fruit, and be a goodly cedar, and under it shall dwell all fowls of every wing. In the shadow of the branches thereof shall they dwell. And all the trees of the field shall know that I am Yahweh, have brought thee down the high tree, have exalted the low tree, have dried up the green tree, and have made the dry tree to flourish. I, Yahweh, have spoken and have done it. 3 John chapter 1, verse 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. For I rejoiced greatly when the brethren came and testified of the truth that is in thee, even as thou walkest in the truth. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children can walk in truth. Beloved, thou doest faithfully whatsoever thou doest to the brethren and to strangers, which have borne witness of thy charity before the church, whom if thou bring forth on thy journey after a godly sort, thou shalt do well. Because that for his name's sake they went forth, taking nothing of the Gentiles. St. John chapter 21, verse 1. After these things, Yahushua showed himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias, and on this wise showed he himself. There were together Simon Peter, and Thomas called Didymus, and Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, and the sons of Zebedee, and 2 other of his disciples. Simon Peter said unto them, I go a fishing. They said unto him, We also go with thee. They went forth and entered into the ship immediately. And that night they caught nothing. But when the morning was now come, Yahushua stood on the shore, but the disciples knew not that it was Yahushua. Then Yahushua said unto them, Children, have ye any meat? They answered him, No. And he said unto them, Cast the net on the right side of the ship, and ye shall find. They cast therefore, and now they were not able to draw it for the multitude of fishes. Therefore that disciple whom Yahushua loved said unto Peter, It is our Lord. Now when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, Adonian, he girt his fisher's coat unto him, for he was naked, and did cast himself into the sea. And the other disciples came in a little ship, and they were not far from the land, as it were 200 cubits, dragging the net with fishes. As soon then as they were come to the land, they saw a fire of coals there, and fish laid thereon and bread. Yahushua said unto them, Bring up the fish which ye have now caught. Simon Peter went up and drew the net to the land full of great fishes, 153. And for all there was so many, yet was not the net broken. Yahushua said unto them, Come and dine. And none of the disciples durst ask him, Who art thou? Knowing that it was the Lord. Yahushua then cometh and taketh bread, and giveth them, and fish likewise. This is now the third time that Yahushua showed himself to his disciples after that he was risen from the dead. So when they had dined, Yahushua said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He said unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my lambs. He saith to him a second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He said unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He said unto him, Feed my sheep. He said unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonah, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved, because he said unto him the third time, Lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Yahushua said unto him, Feed my sheep. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself, and walkest whither thou wouldest. But when thou wouldest shall be old, thou shalt stretch forth thy hands, and another shall gird thee, and carry thee whither thou wouldest not. This spake he, signifying by what death he should glorify the Most High. And when he had spoken this, he said unto him, Follow me. Then Peter, turning about, seeth the disciple whom Yahushua loved following, which also leaned on his breast at supper, and said, Lord, which is he that betrayed thee? Peter, seeing him, said to Yahushua, Lord, and what shall this man do? Yahushua said unto him, If I will that he tarry till I come, what is it to thee? Follow thou me. Then went this saying abroad among the brethren, that disciple should not die. Yet Yahushua said, Not unto him he shall not die. But if I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to thee? This is the disciple which testifieth of these things, and wrote these things, and we know that his testimony is true. And there are also many other things which Yahushua did, the which, if they should be written every one, I suppose that even the world could not contain the books that should be written. Amen. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto Allahayanawa who gave it. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 14. Neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery. Meditate upon these things. Give thyself wholly to them, that thy profit may appear to all. Take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine. Continue in them, for in doing this thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee. Sirach, chapter 18, verse 19, GNT. Know what you are talking about before you speak, and give attention to your health before you get sick. Examine your conscience before Yahweh judges you. Then, when that time comes, he will forgive you. Humble yourselves before you are punished with sickness. When you have sinned, show repentance. If you make a promise unto the Lord, keep it as soon as you can. Don't wait until you are about to die to set things straight. But before you make such a promise, be prepared to keep it. Don't try to test Yahweh's patience. Think. Do you want him to be angry with you on the day you die? When you face his judgment, do you want him to turn his back on you? Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Yahushua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Allah. For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be wearied and faint in your minds. Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. Fear none of the things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith to the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. James chapter 2, verse 5. Hearken, my beloved brethren. Hath not Allah chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom which he hath promised to them that love him? James chapter 2, verse 1. My brethren, have not the faith of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, the Lord of glory, with much respect of persons. For if there come unto your assembly a man with a gold ring and goodly apparel, and there come in also a poor man of vile raiment, and ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, and say to him, Sit thou here in a good place, and say to the poor, Stand thou there, or sit here under my footstool. Are ye not then partial in yourselves, and are become judges of evil thoughts? Psalm chapter 37, verse 1. A psalm of David. Fret not thyself because of the evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither as the green herb. Trust in Yahweh, and do good. So shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in Yahweh, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy ways unto Yahweh. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in Yahweh, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself to do any wise do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon Yahweh, they shall inherit the earth. Yet for a little while, and the wicked shall not be, yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. Amos chapter 5, verse 22. Though ye offer me burnt offerings, and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy vows. But let judgment run down as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream. Ye have offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel. But ye have borne the tabernacle of Molech and Chewing, your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves. Therefore will I cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, saith Yahweh, whose name is the God of hosts. 2 Ezra chapter 2, verse 40. So now, Jerusalem, welcome these people who have kept the law of the Lord, and this will complete the list of those whom the Most High Allah hath assigned to you. The children you longed for have returned. Their number is now complete. So pray that the Lord's kingdom may come, and that your people whom Allah chose before he created the world may become holy. I, Ezra, saw an enormous crowd on Mount Zion, too many people to count. They were all singing and praising the Lord. Standing in the middle of this crowd was a very tall young man, taller than any of the others. He was placing a crown on the head of each person, and he towered above them all. I was spellbound by the sight, and I asked the angel, "Who are these people, sir?" He replied, "These are people who have taken off the mortal robes and have put on the immortal ones. They have confessed their faith in Allah, and now they are being given crowns and palm branches as symbols of their victory." Then I asked the angel, "Who is the young man who was putting the crowns on their heads and giving them the palms?" "He is the son of Allah," the angel replied. "And all these people confessed their faith in him while they lived on the earth." Then I began to praise those who stood for the Lord so bravely. And the angel said unto me, "Go and tell my people what you have seen, the many marvelous wonders of Adonijah,